Gonna teach that. You could stay up there. We're gonna do the elders one. You're already in advance. Yeah, you don't have to be if you don't want to be. Okay, have a seat. So we're gonna go into the reflection circle point now. If you're in line to talk to James and Anthony and get an autograph, you may want to take that outside. You got some big laughers in there. I already seen Vera shoo me away. You never mind, Tosh. See? I knew that was gonna come. That's how you know you did good in Yukon, when you get mobbed like that. That's a good sign. So perhaps we could say the only people who could truly follow that amazing presentation is a group of our elders. And so the intent behind the next little while is to hear from our elders on their reflections from day 1 and part of day 2. And so I have with me Nina. I've got Diane somewhere. I saw her come up. There's Diane. No, there's Nina. There's Diane. And Jerry and Anne. And we're also, we've got a number of people that, sorry? Demon? Yeah, I know that not everybody was invited, so I don't know if she knows. So they're just pointing out that there are other elders in the room. So if there are other elders that want to come up, Angela, they're specifically talking about you if you want to, yes. They said you'd be fine if you want to come up. It's up to you. I'll leave that to you. I don't know how elders delegate to other elders. It's awkward. So I'm just going to let them do that. We do have elders joining us from both the Old Crow Hub and the Dawson Hub, and they have sent in messages, so I will be sharing those. But I think what we want to do is just hear from our elders, and I think what I'll do is I'll start with the Dawson group, if that's okay, just their reflections, and then we'll hear from the elders here, and then we're going to loop up to Old Crow, if that works. So from Dawson, we had Frank, Phyllis, Gladys, Norma, Angie, Kathy, and Trudy, who all agreed on these points that Cody has sent. So big shout out to Dawson Hub elders that are present there. Woo, can we get a round of applause for our Dawson elders? Yeah. So the Dawson Hub said some of their thoughts it would be nice to have increased support for elders to navigate the healthcare system more effectively. This would include assistance to understand preoperative care treatment instructions, help to understand the purpose or side effects of taking certain medications, how to safely decrease the amount of pills they are prescribed, and of course to have the non-insured health benefits consider funding for traditional First Nation medical treatments as well as alternative medical treatments, including acupuncture. And please, this is for all of you in the room. I don't have an elder voice yet, but imagine it in an elder voice. Get rid of the acronyms. What the heck is a SPOR? Huh? Uh-huh. There was lots of acronyms thrown out, so I see how they're rolling up there. We had some other comments from other members of the community that include, we really need to see more representation from members of the disabled community, and they should be included on the regional advisory groups. So big shout out to Dawson. Thank you very much for those comments. I'm gonna hand the microphone over to Jerry to start us off, if that's okay. And any reflections, you have anything you want to share?
Gadanit Sutaat, Jerry Sultani Yuchat Duasaku. I am Athabascan Tlingit woman. I was born and raised on the traditional territories of the Okwan and Takuquan nations, Juneau, Alaska. I'm very honored to be here serving my people in the Yukon Territory for almost 27 years now. I'm blessed to be on the traditional lands of Kwanlandan First Nation and Ta'onquachan Council. Usually I save this for the very last, but today I'm going to say it first. Tsu haidai shugak tutan, yakuske dakait, hajikenak, kaudik it. We will open it again, this box of wisdom, which was left in our hands. George Davis, Deshiton, 1981, from the book written by Lance Twitchell, Tlingit Yukatangi. I think it's very important that everything we have heard here today and yesterday, now we put it to use. Somebody said, we've done all the studies, we've spent all the money, all the surveys. Now we need to put all of this knowledge to use. And for me, the most important is that you please listen to your elders. They have all this knowledge. We have lived this.
And you want to go next, or whoever?
Well, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm a little nervous. I want to tell you that I spent about 10 years of my life at the residential school, which I tried a lot of things to get rid of my language, to get rid of everything. I want people to know that. Not that I live it, because I'm on a healing path, and I've been on a healing path for years. I put it upon myself. But I've worked with language for 24 years, maybe longer than that, because I speak the language fluently. I read and write it. I am an interpreter and a translator. And I worked at the college, and I meet some people here and there from the college. I retired about 5 to 6 years ago. Now I'm still working. I don't know. Well, we have knowledge, like my colleague said here. The elders have knowledge because they lived it. They lived that life. And we went through a lot. I'm a survivor. Well, a lot of people say, don't say that, you're a survivor, but I am a survivor because I'm still surviving. I went through uphill and downhill. I went through a lot of things in my life. I educated myself to become who I am today. In our culture, an elder is the highest, I guess, the university, I guess, the highest degree you can go. And that's where I am right now. I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with it. I'm living from day to day, trying to keep my health, trying to be socializing with my people, to helping them, praying for them. I learned a long time ago, too, in my teachings about the circle of life. And this is not in they say it's not in our culture, but it is. The circle of life is all the areas of your body, your spiritual self, your emotional self, your physical self, and your mental health. And all the different colors and all the colors of people and the different races. The white, the red, the yellow, and black people. It's all in the 4 areas. I wanted to say this because I was taught it. I was taught in this area. Like I said, we didn't learn it in our culture, but I see it with my grandmother. My grandmother raised me. And the last of actually the cultural people that I know, where we lived in the bush, we did our hunting, trapping. My father was a hunter. My mother was a great lady, and she was with me till she passed away just a few years ago. She was 90 years old, and she taught us everything. To be cultural, And above all, the values like loving each other, the values, I lost my train of thought. Excuse me, I know what I'm trying to say myself, but you know, like I said, I get nervous, and I don't know why. In residential school, they look down on you. And I remember a friend of mine, she went up to speak, and she got tongue-tied, and she made this really funny noise. You know what? Not one person in that whole room, not one of the kids ever laughed or anything at her. And we were all intimidated, I think. I don't know what it was, but not good. I try not to live in the past. I saw this morning about the present, living in the present right now. It's very important that we do that. That we I think I better leave it for now if I come around again. But thank you. Masicho.
Goodness, cheese.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nina Bolton, and I am I got one foot in one world and one in the other, and I'm very fortunate and very appreciative of that. My grandfather, or my dad's side of the family, was Nina and Bernie Hubsprellen. So of German ancestry on my dad, for my grandpa's side, and English and Dutch on my grandmother's side. And for my mother was Sarah McIntosh, and of which my grandfather was of Tlingit ancestry, and my grandmother was of Southern and Northern Shoshone people. So I'm very rich cultures there. The only thing is I need to learn more about them. And I can't say, well, you never taught me. Especially at this age, I've had how many years to take it upon myself to learn. And I am still learning. And to me, learning is a lifelong process. So, but with bringing us here today, and yesterday, it was, I didn't realize, I'm going to say Indigenous health. Yukon Indigenous Health Program was going, and I'm very pleased to hear that it is, and I'm looking forward to see how we're going to build and continue to learn and continue to progress in reference to that. Not only Indigenous health, but other health as well, because I have friends, I have family. Like I say, I'm in both worlds, and I can see and hear of what goes on. And I agree that Indigenous health is not always the best, especially with discrimination and things going on. But it was good to hear, well, taking us back to our children today, no, what's it called? Together today for our children tomorrow. And, you know, Elijah saying that we need to have say in the many different areas, and especially over our health and well-being. So that's good, and that's been said how many years ago? We're still saying it today. But to see the progress that we have made is phenomenal, and that's excellent. Yeah, we still have stumbling blocks, but that's life, in my view. There's stumbling blocks going to be there continuously, and we're learning. How many have had a chance to go down the hall and visit with Donna Wolf with her traditional medicines? Awesome. If you haven't, please go. That's the strength of our ancestors and our teachings and what we have. And to hear that she took it upon herself to go and learn and become an herbalist. Fantastic. I hold my hands to her. I also hold my hands up to Karkastagis First Nation for recognizing, with her being an environmental monitor, and her taking it upon herself to go and pick those medicines. And when she was called upon, what are you doing? She told them. And she thought she was going to get a slap on the wrist because she was gathering. Instead, they said, "Are you interested in doing that?" And she said, "Yes." They are fully supporting her in her efforts. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But the fact that they recognized she has been doing it for many years, since she was a little one all the way through, learning, because she valued and believed in the strength of our traditional medicines and what it can do. She took it, and she's running with it, and she's sharing it. Our traditional values: to share, to care, to learn, and respect. Those are 4 key areas, not just with First Nations, but in all of humanity. We should be practicing that. It was good to hear, I forget his name, Dr. Joe, I believe, from Northwest Territories yesterday. We need to communicate, 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 and collaborate. Come together on things of how we can work together, how we can progress together for the improvement and well-being of each other. That is key. Not where we are going to say, "Oh, this is mine. This is my idea." It is our idea. And how can we work together to build upon that and to grow from it? I'm really pleased to hear with all the speakers that have been speaking. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Such knowledge, and the fact that they are up here sharing, and they're out there mingling with us. Each of us are mingling and sharing our knowledge. That's how we progress and move together to the advancement of our betterment. I have no idea where I am with what I wrote down, but anyway, I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to being here the rest of the day. And I thank each of you again for your knowledge and sharing as well. Thank you. Gunashish.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Diane Smith. I'm from Kwanandan First Nation, elder. To attend this conference and to talk on the world of health and a lot of the pain and witness through our time when we have loved ones that are not well, and to have this conference in order to have the ears of people that can change policy words or putting words into a policy. To me, words are very strong. They can help people or they can destroy them. Look at the words in look at the policy, the words in what residential school did to our people. And when we look at our health, when we have trauma in our life, it comes out in our health. Your body's diseased. So when we come here and share what we have to offer as First Nations people, they need to hear so that changes can be made for the betterment, for the service that they need to provide to our people. You heard from one of the workers yesterday that there is racism. You see it on the news. You know how First Nations, some of us are treated. And I shared yesterday that each of us live a painful life. The history of the Yukon, we walk with it each day. So to have something where we can have our health looked at and be taken care of. And like I said yesterday, there's plants out at Mother Earth that can deal with just about everything that we need in order to heal. And like when you see Donna, what she's doing, it's amazing work. And once you get out on the land and start picking medicine and learning by yourself, because every New Year's Eve, I always ask the Creator, what is going to be my purpose? And one year I asked the Creator, I said, I want to learn about traditional medicines. That whole year, every workshop I did was somebody else coming in. I was the facilitator, and they were passing on the knowledge of traditional medicine. And it's a beautiful skill to have. When COVID came about, a few people came to me and asked me, what's good for COVID? And I don't have all the answers, but all of a sudden, two things came into my mind. I mixed it, gave them a big bottle. It helped. So, you know, it's amazing world out there. And to have the government, federal and provincial government, and a lot of the universities start listening to the First Nations people of what they have to offer. And then, like I say, policies, words in a policy can help us in health. And like I say yesterday too, like we don't get the right medicine, we get the generic medicine. Our non-insured benefits does not really meet our needs as First Nations people. To send a loved one out on a plane that has a heart condition only to have a heart attack at the airport in Vancouver and pass away because the hospital or the non-insured or the doctors won't give them a letter to say that they need an escort. So those are some of the things is that as First Nations women and mothers, if our loved one has passed away, we need to see it with our own eyes in order to let them go. Sometimes we don't get that. I had an auntie that was medevac to Vancouver. For years, she was dealing with pain. They sent her to Vancouver in the middle of the night, not notifying our family about what they did. And when they operated on her, it was too late. She was full of cancer. In the meantime, her husband was getting ready to go down to Vancouver, working through Champagne-Ajax to get the support that he needed in order to go to be with her. And in the meantime, she passed away. The pain that the husband went through after that, not being by her side when she took her last breath, it is against who we are as people. So escort, non-insured, in the world of health, they need to look at policy, the words that they put into a policy, and how important it is our culture and our tradition and our beliefs are put into those policies. With Kwantlen First Nation, we have leadership that any kind of policies they're creating, they have a public consultation with the citizens. And we sit there and we create the words that we need in order to move on on Mother Earth. So I'm really glad I came here and listening to the two guys here really answered a lot of my questions. I remember people saying that our language and our culture is dying. And it bothered me for years until one guy came to the house. He was working for White River First Nation, but he came to Whitehorse and he was invited up to my home, and we had supper with his wife and him. And I asked him, I said, a lot of people are talking about how we are losing our culture and our language of who we are. He said, Diane, he said, right to this day, your answers from 500 years ago is still flowing through your blood. And a lot of the little children that are born will come with those gifts that we need in order to help us in that time. So this is who we are as First Nation in the health world. We ask questions. I remember when I was dealing with really chronic pain, I was at home and I thought, I was sitting in my kitchen, I thought, I wonder what's good for chronic pain, because I was in really bad pain. And all of a sudden, I look at the stove, there was a big jar of olive oil. And then I look out the window, and there was this one tree, the balsam poplar bud. And I thought, I wonder what those two would, if I mix those two, I wonder what's going to happen. And amazing, it helped me. And I always share that with, I make medicine, and I share that with anyone that wanted to learn. And when my grandchildren are cranky and are restless and they can't sleep, I put that oil on the bottom of their feet. Next thing you know, they calm down and they go to sleep. And then when you live with chronic pain, when you're walking, your foot gets really sore. And sometimes I can't sleep. I'm just in pain and pain. I think, gee, I got medicine right here. Why don't I put it on? So I get up and I put it on. It calms it down and I sleep. So those are some of the things that are out there for our people and for anyone. Thank you.
Goodness, geez. Any other comments? You guys are good? You good? Okay.
Just to follow up with what Diane was saying too, is our traditional medicines. An example was quite a few years back now. A friend had cancer, and she had a mastectomy done, both mastectomies done, and she come back to the Yukon, and the doctor outside had told her that she'll probably take at least a couple months to heal. And so this is in the winter, and so she put out a call to the rest of us girls, and anybody have any dandelion that we could use, because she was thinking of the medicine properties in there. And so I said, sure. And I went to my jar and I picked out majority of what was there of dandelion leaf, dandelion root, and I sent it in to her. And what she did is she put it on like a poultice. Boiling hot water, let it steep, and then she put it on like a poultice. The next time she went back to see that doctor in a couple of weeks, he said, oh, what have you been doing? He was totally surprised at how much she had healed in that couple of weeks. He said, normally you would take close to 2 months to get to where you're at today. That's the power of our medicines. The power that's there, and we just need to know, we need to trust and believe that it's there. Myself, I'm not too much for chemical medicines. And if I can take something else traditionally, I will do so. The other thing I wanted to comment on too is holistic healing. Yeah, we might have something wrong physically with us, but where is it deriving from? What's happening in the rest of our bodies that it's getting there? What has happened with the traumas and the crises and everything else that's led up to it, or the stresses? It builds, and it's going to come out some way, shape, or form. If we're homeless, we're in the hospital for a chronic or whatever else it is, then when we come out and we don't have a home to go to or someplace stable to go to, what's going to happen? We're probably going to end up back in the hospital. If we don't have that love and that caring, that home, the proper nutrition, etc., it's not going to help a great deal just to have the physical healing. We need to look at the whole picture. Mind, body, spirit, and emotion. So it's important to really consider those things when we're doing our research. And research, how long has it been going on for? Goodness gracious. I remember when I started working with the First Nations many years ago, how many studies we went through. Studies of our property, studies of our land, studying of our plants, studying. Where are they? On the shelf. How often are they looked at? Oh, the government's paying more money to do another study. I think we're studied just about out. When are we going to start putting it into action? And that's what counts, is action. We can say, yeah, we need to do this, we need to do that, and oh, we'll hire this person, that person. And as well, how many people are we going to have of our own people to come forward to work on that, where they're not going to be afraid to think or be told, oh, you don't have the qualifications. We hear that lots. Oh, they don't have the qualifications. Well, we might not have the degrees, we might not have whatever else is, but we have the experience, we have the knowledge, we know where to go, we know what it is we want. We have the connectedness to other people where we need to help get that information and direction from. We need to be honored for what we do know, because it will complement the others that have other information. I believe that I am neither above nor below anybody. I am equal to. Because I have the knowledge and the experiences that I do, I will speak of that. And you have the knowledges and experiences that you do, and they might not be the same as mine, but we can unite and collaborate together to make it be that much more strong. Thank you.
Goodness, cheese, Diane and Nina. Good? Okay. So I'm going to go to Old Crow. Deborah Lee Rati sent in a text from the Alice Frost campus in Old Crow. Her comments are as follows, and I'm going to offer photographic evidence if anybody wants the first one. The MC is killing it. Love her. Wow. Thank you, Old Crow. The stories and sharing from all our elders is so impactful to this summit, as this is the way we relate, and I'm grateful there are so many elders present. I'm emotional as I write this, as I know many of them personally, and I love how they help guide our conversations in any setting. Heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji. Number 3, let's do this again next year. Shout out from Old Crow, thank you so much. Big round of applause for our elders and their reflections. Goodness, geez, thank you so much.